G'day folks, Okie Doke here with another book review. Today I want to talk about Devil's Peak by Deon Meyer, or Meyer, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Deon Meyer is a South African novelist, likes to do crime thrillers. He's done about 15 books so far, and this is the first one of his that I've read, and it also happens to be the first in the Detective Benny Grizzell series. I think that's how you pronounce his name. There's 5 novels in the Benny Grizzell series at the moment. There's 3 main characters in this book. The first is Detective Inspector Benny Grizzell. He's one of these cliche alcoholic cops that you often find in books these days. He struggles with his alcoholism, and even from the beginning of the book we find that his wife is in the process of throwing him out and basically giving him 6 months to sober up or don't bother coming back, which is really hard because he's got 2 kids that he wants to be close to. So he struggles with his sobriety while at the same time he's trying to find a murderer, a murderer that appears to be a vigilante. And that character is the second protagonist, if you like, in the book. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but the way I pronounce it is Thobela Mpayupeli. I'll have to read it this time. Thobela Mpayupeli, something like that. Thobela is a former freedom fighter, and he's executed people in the past in Europe, in Russia and Germany. He had a bit of a military background, but he moved on to be a bodyguard and other things, and eventually he had himself a little family. He lost his wife before the book starts, and in the beginning of this book he loses his son, his young son. He loses his son at the hands of some robbers who accidentally kill the boy. As a result, he wants to seek revenge upon all child abusers, because the legal system just seems to be failing in that area. So he starts to take a few out, and the media dub him Artemis. Artemis after the female Greek god who also took revenge on people that abused children. The third main character in the book is a 22-year-old call girl, Christina van Rooyen. Well, she ends up in this profession basically because of money. She needs money. She ends up with a daughter, and through her clients she ends up with a very obsessive and possessive Colombian drug lord who she believes has not very good intentions with her daughter once he discovers her. So she tries to get rid of him and uses a plot to do that. These 3 characters have their own story that seem to parallel each other through the book, and eventually they do coalesce into one story. And I think it's been really well written. Deon Meyer has done a very good job with this. It's a thrilling read, a gripping read, very dramatic, seductive. You can't put the book down. I found I couldn't put it down, especially towards the end. And that was one thing I really did like, was the ending. It just got better and better as you got through. It didn't peter off into some silly ending. I couldn't put the book down. The end of it finished nicely without too much prattle at the end of it, which some books do. They finish up and then they go on for another 2 chapters talking about rubbish. Deon Meyer certainly didn't do that. The beginning of the book has Christina talking to a priest about her story, which actually is the end result of everything that happened. So if you get me, she's talking to him about something that's already happened. But it's done in a really good way. You don't feel like you're going backwards and forwards in time. It seems to plot along in a very good timeline, and easy to follow and captivating. I can't say I'm a fan of the South African accent, and I just couldn't help reading this book with that accent. So I'm reading it with an accent I don't even like. And I did watch a little video with Deon Meyer talking about one of his books, and yeah, he's got the classic South African accent, of course, and it's exactly how I heard it spoken in my head. The story itself encompasses various topics dealing with alcoholism, there's police corruption, racism, rebellious childhoods, failed dreams, seeking justice, the struggle of poverty, child abuse. Talks about the myth of men with AIDS trying to get rid of their illness by raping virginous children. We see the power of wealth, how the rich live, and the struggles of poverty, the errors of vigilantism, and even the appreciation of the little things in life, like a little old lady that tries to befriend Benny Grizel and provides him with some sustenance. I don't want to spoil too much of this book, but I want to give you enough that makes you want to read it. I didn't really find fault with anything in the book, none of the storyline or the characters or just the situation. It was all quite believable. Meyer paints a good, vivid, even scary picture of what South Africa is like at the moment. Now, this book was written in 2007, so it is a few years old, and hopefully things have improved a bit there. But I'd certainly recommend Dion Meyer and Devil's Peak. The Times simply said, supremely satisfying. And I think that's about right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another review.